drilling a little bit deeper into the type 3, I'm just curious, what are type 3s like?
Yeah, sure. So each of the 9 Enneagram types is represented by a number, right? So if you look at the Enneagram diagram, there's, 1 through 9 around the circle. And we call somebody a type 3 because at that point on the diagram, there's what's called an adaptive strategy represented. And that adaptive strategy is striving to feel outstanding. Okay, so you get somebody who gets up in the morning and they don't really think about it, but they're driven to succeed. They're driven to achieve things. They're driven to make things happen. And that's just the way they're oriented to the world.
Yeah.
Okay? So we call it by the number just for convenience. Okay. So you're a 3, I'm an 8, etc. But it's this idea of somebody who's striving to feel outstanding. So this creates somebody who, wants to feel, and when I say feel, I mean it, right? It's this feeling inside that drives the way I think about the world, that drives how I behave in the world. Okay, so a 3 is going to think about, how do I be successful? Okay, how do I achieve things? How do I accomplish things? And then they're going to act in ways that'll increase the probability of that. So 3s are people, I always say they're the people that you want around when you're building a business, right? Or when you're trying to achieve things, because they just are wired to accomplish. Now, there's some downside to that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Go ahead. Question?
No, I was going to say, what are the downsides?
Okay, great. Now, again, all the, every strength has, overdone has some downside to it. And we all have vulnerabilities. So the challenge that 3s can run into, and I've coached a lot of these people over the years because, again, I've been doing this for over 25 years, and these people tend to be fairly successful. So you run into a lot of them in big organizations. Mm-hmm. And one of the challenges they can have is that, number one, they can be so focused on the goals that they can forget about people sometimes. Okay, they can forget about other people's needs and other people's concerns and so forth. Now, this does not mean that they're doing it on purpose because they're bad people or anything like that. It's just that they're so focused on the goal that they can forget about the people around them. The other thing is because they tend to drive themselves really hard, they tend to be accomplished. They tend to work harder than other people. They tend to work faster than other people. And as leaders, this can be a challenge because it's easier for them to do things themselves, right? Instead of me waiting for somebody else to do it or delegate it to somebody else, you know what, I'll just do it myself. And so this means that, they get to a certain point where they're doing too much by themselves, and they've only got 24 hours in a day, right? They've only got so much capacity, and it can stall their careers, right? So when I'm working with 3s, I always tell them, you want to go from being an outstanding doer to an outstanding leader, right? Somebody who achieves through other people. And that can be a hard transition for 3s because they, it's like going from a player to a coach. Okay. Some athletes can do it. A lot of them just want to grab the ball and get back on the court, right? Which instead of be the coach. And so this is a challenge that 3s can have.